Hi everyone, this is Carmina. Welcome back to my channel, Your Stars Aligned. So today I had this idea to make this video while working on a project that I've been working on for the past year, like studying several hundred musicians charts and applying, the career factors, especially from Gemini, but also other things because I want to find some patterns and see practically like how they pan out in these hundreds of charts. And that while I was working on it, I was thinking like, when you get hung up on a certain stage, then I was thinking, okay, what is this stage? What does this stage represent? What planet rules this stage? What are the avasthas of the planet that rules this certain stage that I'm stuck on? So it's an interesting like case study. You can apply this like when you're working on something that you're inspired to do, or just like everyday things. You can see like the planet states or the Vashtas working. So I'm gonna run you through the stages that occur when we do something that we feel inspired to do, right? So first of all, we get the inspiration. The inspiration, the idea to do something, a project or whatever, is that comes from the sun, right? The sun is the Agni, right? It's the fire of individuality, of inspiration that makes us manifest ourselves, our soul, because the sun is our soul, the Atman, the universal soul. So it's our capacity for uniqueness, individuality, for inspiration, and that numerologically translates as number one, right? Stage one. And if you have like good sun avasthas, it's easier for you to find this inspiration within yourself. But if you have like more difficult, troubled sun avasthas, if you know Venus is starving the sun, you might find it like you might fear that if you manifest your inspiration, you won't be accepted socially or things like that. So that's stage one. Stage two is ruled by the moon, right? The moon is the dwelling place of the mind, the manas. So the manas resides on the moon. That's where the moon is the yin principle, right? It's reflective of the sun's light, of the sun's inspiration. It's where we absorb that inspiration, like our minds get imbibed by the fire of inspiration. That's the mental process, and it's ruled by the moon. If the moon has good avastas, it will get nourished by this inspiration. If it has bad avastas, it will find things that are not working, and instead of finding things like the inspiration to be nourished, it will do other things. That's like bad moon avastas. And assuming that we get past stage two, we get to Mars, right? Mars that manifests as number three, and it's where we take like physical action, like, okay, I'm starting this right now. So the Mars is also like a very important planet to have good avastas, because a lot of projects stop right there in the mind. They don't get translated into action. But if you have like good Mars avastas, it will be easier for you to get past this stage. So Mars is the strategist. It creates like a strategy. Okay, I'm doing this now to do like broad strategy, and it also like it adapts, it shifts, its trajectory is, Mars's trajectory is different from the other planets, as it can be like 1 year in one sign and then 2 months in another sign. So you can think about Mars like that. It adapts. And then we get to Mercury, which is kind of similar to Mars in a way, is that while Mars is a strategist, Mercury is also like a planner, but more like a practical planner. It like makes mental or physical lists of things to do, right? It's like do 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 do. So this is Mercury, and it manifests as number 4. If we get like a bad Mercury Avasthas, our lives tend to be pretty chaotic, you know. And then after number 4, after that stage of planning, there comes number 5. Number 5 is like ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is one of the gurus, right? Jupiter also relates to being a channel for goodness, right? And that's no wonder, because like Jupiter is the only planet that influences the sun's trajectory, the sun's orb, because it has such a strong gravitational pull. It manifests in such a way that it disturbs the sun's trajectory a little. So it's a heavyweight planet. It's not a planet you mess with. So the better your Jupiter, the better you are a channel, for expressing the inspiration, the sun's inspiration. And also Jupiter makes like moral judgments. Is this right? Is this wrong? So that's the Jupiter stage. Then the next stage is the other guru, Venus. But while Jupiter is more like a moral judge, Venus is more a worldly judge. It's like Venus thinks, is this practical if I do this, And Venus is thinking in terms of real life, practical situations, not in terms of, a high moral stand of right and wrong that Jupiter uses. And that's number 6, That's the manifestation, the numerological manifestation of Venus. And then when we get to Saturn, to stage 7, Saturn helps us edit. It helps us separate from things in our project, for instance, that are not working. Okay, so instead of getting stuck on doing this thing and focusing on this part that's clearly not working, a good Saturn will just like push that away. Fine, that's not working, you know I'm not gonna don't use that anymore. And also a good Saturn helps with the well-being of the project, like its longevity and our ability to push through, and like also do the menial tasks like the of the project that we don't like but are necessary, like the long hours or the repetitive tasks, that Saturn rules. And like doing a project is like taking care of the baby, and you have to have the will and the ability to carry that through to its maturation stage, so to finish it. So like Mars, the other more cruel planet, Saturn, it helps us actually like finish the project, like finish it well, a good Saturn. And then I guess I can talk about Rahu and Ketu as well. Rahu gives the results of Saturn, and of course in each individual chart it gives the results of the planets it's joined with and its lord. So yeah, Rahu actually helps us realize that the value of the project and the value of our action is the one within. So it's kind of taking us back to number 1, right? It's taking us back to the inspiration, and it shows us it's not the external validation, but what we need is within. That's the value of Rahu that manifests at number 8. And then Ketu, it shows us that okay, we did this project, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not any better than any other project that exists, because they're all manifestations of God, right? So like everything, even the projects that we don't agree with, that we don't like, we realize that's part of life, and life is beautiful and we love it and we accept it, even the parts that we find ugly and that don't validate us. So that's the value of Ketu. No wonder like Ketu is associated with liberation so much, right? So yeah, I think these are the stages that every project goes through, every creative thing. And it's interesting like to look at, like if we have hang-ups with a certain stage, we can look like, oh, we have these like more troubled Avasthas, and we can look at the planets that help, that particular planet. So for instance, if we have problems with Saturn, like with finishing a project, we see if like Mercury is influencing, or Venus, Saturn's friends, and you're like, okay, is this practical for me to have worked for such a long time and not finish this? you know so yeah, you can find ways like with astrology to help you do your everyday things, and I think that's the really cool thing about it. Yeah. So, oh, and I also wanted to tell you, these things, they're not like so linear. Like you don't go from 1 to 9 and it's over forever. Like with our lives, we all go every day from 1 to 9, and we get our ego a little busted, our feathers ruffled at number 7, because we have to let go of some things, and we know that our ego doesn't want to let go of things. So yeah, it's interesting, like every day it's this process, like ongoing and ongoing, ongoing forever, until we learn our lessons, hopefully sooner than later. Okay, so yeah, that was about it for today. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I hope you got something out of this. So yeah, see you later. Bye.